start, right? It seems like a lot of people are here. Okay, before we begin, just wanted to let everyone know that the talk is going to be recorded, but not you, all of you, but just the author. Is this okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, welcome everyone today to the Morris Public Library as we host this author talk with Thomas Medonis. And this is our third time, I think, hosting Thomas. And with lots of different books, lots of different themes. And like last time it was, 10 years ago. That was quite a while, so welcome back. Yeah. And now 2022. Yeah. Fantastic. And today's presentation has a title, a holistic approach to a synthetic world. It's very interesting. And Thomas is going to talk about his unique writing style that he has adopted, quick reads, and this writing style is based on his meditation, esoteric studies, and research history. And lots of ideas that he shares are sort of similar but not, so we'll find out today. This is very, very cool. And also, all authors' works contain the main theme of humanics in action. You're going to tell us about that, because that's very interesting.
I'll try to portray it, yes.
Just somewhat, because it seemed to me like the subjects that you cover and your works and your philosophy are so vast. So we'll try to get a glimpse today. Yeah, and So presentation will take place here at the library, and due to policies of this museum reading room, the signing cannot take place here, so the author will sign his works, but that will take place in the library after the presentation. Questions and answers will follow the author right to the library. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank Elena because of a chance encounter across the street
yes.
at the James Morris School, where I'm a maintenance tech. I was applying ice melt to the sidewalks because of all the ice storms we had. And she was walking into the school for probably library purposes. And again, she was very interested in me and my works and what have you been working on? And, we got talking and she kindly invited me in. And this has been the only library that has invited me to do book talks. Litchfield, they need published authors to do book talks. So that's fine by them, but I like the independent standard. As I'll show, there are some things that our government has done to increase propaganda and increase narratives. So I enjoy just putting it all together, what I find, trusting my intuition, and that's what I'm hoping to share with you guys. And again, I'm just very grateful to the library for inviting me. I'm right down the road, 2 minutes down the road, and I drive by this building just about every day to work. So it's great, very familiar. So to start, opening to before the slideshow, I like to pretty much live by we are what we eat, but to more broader sense, we are what we consume, our thoughts, the water, the air we inhale. It all affects us. All the etheric energies create who we are. But technology also has great benefits. There's a lot of new technologies in medicine and things like that. So I'm open to new things, new ideas. But again, I always look for the natural source first. Something we have overlooked is that the entirety of all the bodies that make the human physical body, our spiritual body, our mental body, our etheric body, our physical body, that is the greatest technology ever. What we are self-healing creatures. We have incredible powers and capabilities. And our nature, our physical nature, our energetic nature works with nature to be whole. complete and living in the correct natural frequency of life, right? Unfortunately, nature's frequency has been manipulated by man and technology, man's technology. Our disconnection and manipulation to the natural sources that power our bodies, just as a plant, has eliminated our ability to live in the highest, healthiest body. Brain waves, air, water, dirt are all manipulated with nanotechnology. Chemtrails, geoengineering, weather modification is all proven fact. As you'll see, 10 years ago I was writing a historical novel about chemtrails, and people were kind of like, they're crazy, but it's all proven fact. It's pretty obvious at this point. And then fluoride is now being removed finally from public drinking water. And fluoride is a derivative of fluorine, which is a neurotoxin used in atomic bombs. I know people say a small percentage level of fluoride is healthy or whatnot, but I argue that. So everyone has their, ideas. And then other things like HARP, which is frequency manipulation. It's in Alaska, all over the world. That works with chemtrails. And then our medicine, I don't have to say many proven facts about medicine. You just watch a medicine commercial and watch all the side effects of the medicines. Where in fact there's natural remedies that are incredibly cheaper, and they have worked for centuries. Nature, herbs, that's the original medicine. I mean, that's the original pharmacy for the human body. I read today, if you are not your own doctor, you're a fool. So I think, taking our own accountability and looking within is the first thing in improving our health and the world. Now, I will go to the slideshow now. That was my spiel. I hope you enjoy the presentation. All the work that follows is based on source materials. I'm throwing a lot at you right now, and I'm sure I will spark some controversy. And feel free at the end to if you guys want to touch base. I love conversations and having my mind blown and blowing people's minds. So let's start. Holistic approach to a synthetic world. This was actually the Morse Library's title. My original title was Synthetic Biology Through Predatory Government, which is one of my quick reads essays that I publish on Amazon. It's available, and I will cite some from there. But I really like this approach because I'm a solutions guy. I like to get to the solutions of the matter, and I think for me the solution is going back to we are what we eat, is recycling the earth to create food and things like that. We are organic beings. We are a result of what we eat, inhale, ingest, and think. So what I've been doing for my gardens, this is one of my greenhouses, is I'm doing hugelkultur gardens, which are widely used in Europe. And you take wood, decaying wood, big pieces of logs, put it down in the middle, and then you put branches, shrubs, leaves, cover that, grass clippings, and then you put compost on top of that and soil, and you create a decomposing bed feeding itself over and over again, and it really is amazing. And then yes, the compost soil top, you're going to get seeds and things like that. What we're doing is we're first putting the layer of cardboard. I was certified organic growing for 5 years. If you have just regular cardboard with black print on it, it can be used in organic farming without dye and stuff like that. So we do that to keep the weeds, the mugwort especially, down. And then on the top layer is just the paper bags from the supermarkets and stuff. So reduce, reuse, recycle. And then we have beautiful beans growing right now out of there, some beets and stuff. So yeah, it's just the kind of layer system. But that's really where my energy for growing things has been lately of reducing, reusing, recycling. Everything around us, nature's bounty is everywhere. Yeah, it's been good so far this year. Now moving on to one of the first books I've written, Lost Reality, over 10 years ago. I started probably 2012 for writing it, and I apologize, there's a couple profane words in it. It's going back to a moment in college dorm room, and this is just what I went over. And now, I'm not going to read every excerpt from all the materials. I'm just kind of piecemealing it. At the end, we can have an email list. If anyone wants the slideshow in its entirety, I can send it to you. No problem. But it's over 100 pages, so I'm trying to make it all fit. Weather has now become viewed as a method of stealth warfare. There is a government publication released in '96 that determines control of the weather could possibly occur by the year 2025. Thus, negative food production through unfavorable conditions, positive weather conditions for corporate interests, population distress, removal from certain territories would all be possible. See right here? Mike pointed his right index finger toward his laptop. Owning the weather by 2025 was disclosed in August 1996. They're trying to have control over mother freaking nature, and only certain corporations will benefit, not the petty American citizen who funds the salary of the men making decisions on behalf of the corporations. As far back as 1957, the president's advisors on weather understood that the military may have an unlimited prospect within weather modification. But consider this, Tom, if all this stuff they're spraying gets in our water, our plants, and our oxygen, three most important elements necessary for our survival, this stuff could be much more lethal a weapon than the atomic bomb. Did we know the risk before we started this spraying? Why is it so secret? Like mainstream or independent cover the truth. Why? Well, the Smith-Mundt Act was passed by the 80th Congress and signed into law by President Truman on January 27, 1948, in which the legislature authorized propaganda activities to be conducted by the U.S. Department of State. Henceforth, we become a circus. This act is also known as the U.S. Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948. To take the illusion farther from reality, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 allowed materials produced by State Department and the Broadcasting Board of Governors to be spread throughout America. Okay, now this is ITU, International Telecommunications Union. Electromagnetic radiation is the cigarette smoke of the digital age. Ubiquitous, underestimated, and deeply harmful. Dr. Edward Group. Did you know sound waves can travel through solid material? Sound simply needs a medium to transmit the multiplied reproduction of the noise. Air is the perfect medium for beautiful sounds to flow through the ether at an outdoor spring concert for everyone's delight. Radio waves, however, need no medium to propagate. Radio waves are electromagnetic waves. They are part of the electromagnetic spectrum, which includes all forms of light. I had a little bit. Why is the ITU, International Telecommunications Union, providing the definition of body area network on its website? Components of body area network, bands, typically consist of several components, each with specific roles and functionalities. Sensors, these devices that measure physiological parameters such as heart rate, body temperature, blood pressure, glucose levels, and other vital signs. They can be non-invasive, worn on the skin, or invasive, implanted within the body. Okay. And all United Nations member states participating have agreed to augment their population according to Agenda 2030. Consent not needed, knowledge not needed, cyber backbone, twin complete. They're making a digital twin of us. Deployment in progress. Our once naturally electrical body has now become the biomagnetical digital augmented interfaced being. controls the world. April 24th, 2024. We'll just skip ahead a little bit. Okay, so Canada, I don't know if you guys are familiar, there's some stuff going on in Canada, new leadership and stuff, but this is part of the policies being pushed in Canada. I'll skip ahead. More than a technological change, this biodigital convergence may transform the way we understand ourselves and cause us to redefine what we consider human or natural. Biodigital convergence may profoundly impact our economy, our ecosystems, and our society. Being prepared to support it while managing its risk with care and sensitivity will shape the way we navigate social and ethical considerations, as well as guide policy and governance conversations. Guided by its mandate, Policy Horizons Canada intends to start an informed and meaningful dialogue about plausible futures for bio-digital convergence and the policy questions that may arise. It's coming. I think it's already here. Biodigital convergence is opening up strikingly new ways to change human beings, our bodies, minds, and behaviors, change or create other organisms, alter ecosystems, sense, store, process, transmit information, manage biological innovation, structure and manage production and supply chains. All that. Intellectual property, all that. They want it all for themselves. Yeah, interestingly, I won't touch on it too much, but many things connected to the United Nations and this biodigital convergence are found in Geneva, Switzerland, which ITU is found there, CERN is also there, WHO is also there, and found in Basel, Switzerland. Probably the most important part of this is the Bank for International Settlement, because you need the money to fund all this. So that's how they're doing it, all these puzzle pieces, and a lot of it is found in Switzerland. Okay, so this is going to be a little interesting for you guys. This spare sheet pacifist. Okay. Ironically, one of the most dangerous of weapons used by the Nazi-Soviet alliance, aside from assassination, was administered through a tick. Livestock or rats. Nature, consequently, may not be responsible for spreading Lyme disease. Further documentation of the Nazi doctors' atrocities upon their own citizens arose from Leo Alexander's CEOS reports. Admittance is made to the fact that insanity was not inherited, but induced by environment and disease. Nevertheless, the doctors continued to execute their own non-Jewish citizens at an alarming rate, eliminating the useless eaters, be they rich or poor. Blame for Lyme disease in America should shine on the Russian-American Lend-Lease ship, the SS Elbrus, a ship we sent Stalin to fight Hitler. Did the industrial giants that sponsored the political and industrial dominance between the Bolsheviks and the Kaiser know about spare sheets? Dr. George Schallenbrand, on transferring multiple sclerosis from monkeys to humans, attributes the cause of MS to bacteria, asparasheets, and a virus, with vaccines inducing an allergic reaction. It was the Nazi scientists that cultured a host of tick-borne diseases with millions of infested rats, typhus, relapsing fever, brucellosis, tularemia, Q fever, bubonic plague, and Lyme disease. These were set loose upon nomadic tribesmen who panicked and slaughtered all their livestock. Secretary General of the Communist Party, Alexei Kosygin, directed tons of infested furs, wool, and camel hairs to be shipped to America. Yes, the Lyme epidemic began in America from a shipment of Soviet fur as the Hudson River and the Connecticut River hold the key to the spread of Lyme disease. January 6, 1946, the SS Elbrus, well, you get the sense of that all. That wasn't too important, but Yeah, this book, the SS Elbrus, I highly recommend it. If you guys really want some proof about Lyme disease and where ticks came from a contrary source of big pharma, I highly recommend this book. Forward. Okay. Now, hypno programming, July 8th, 2021. There are a couple points in here I wanted to touch on. It's like the dark money, the black budget of the military. In the early 1980s, a lot of money became available for top secret military projects like the Strategic Defense Initiative. I believe this secret task force may be financed by a portion of this money that is set aside for the Strategic Defense Initiative. It is no coincidence that the genesis of SDI and the reports of military intelligence personnel interfering with abductees coincide with one another. And again, UFOs, abductees, there's maybe a similarity, common theme with the military there. And right here, I just want to bring up reconnaissance, then went into orbit with a series of satellite-borne imagery systems starting in 1958 with Corona. The foundational global remote sensing system and continuing to the present. Good old Corona. Sensor reconnaissance. Interesting. Okay, synthetic biology through predatory government, just about a year ago. What is an aura? What the heck is our biofield? Well, the energetic threshold for our multiple composing forms of the physical, spiritual, and soul bodies are united through our biofield, or otherwise known as our aura. Our biofield is our immune system, our nervous system, our physical system. Disease, aches and pains, and depression are all the product of a misalignment at some instance of our electrical energy body. Trauma changes our framework as it serves as a glitch within our electromagnetic organic framework. We are all a product of universal forces, and consequently, the human body is the greatest antenna to absorb universal frequencies. Sadly, the universal forces and our ability to transmute the etheric energies into beneficial energy for our body has been hijacked. I want full vitamin D sunlight. Why are they putting fields and fields of clouds up there? I want my vitamin D back. That's what I'm saying. Again, WBN wireless body area networks have been put in place through bio-nano sensors. The development of WBN tech started around 95, long ago, around the idea of using wireless personnel area network tech to implement communication on, near, or around the human body. Yes, it's long overdue for the disclosure of the Obama DARPA Brain Initiative. DARPA, I don't know if you guys know, is Facebook. DARPA knows everything, so we need to know everything. And there was one more thing. A class of programmable metamaterials whose electromagnetic properties can be controlled via software. These software-defined metamaterials stem from utilizing metamaterials in combination with nano networks. Metamaterials are artificial structures with properties that may not be found in nature. Since their initial advent, they have inspired groundbreaking filtering of light and sound, as well as efficient antennas for sensors and implantable communication devices in recent years. Important here. The evolution of the nano network through electromagnetic waves and graphene, that's a common word with the vaccine, and graphene is also elaborated upon in the article Nano Networks Communication Architecture, Modeling and Functions. The possibility of EM communication is studied based on the fact that terahertz band can be used as the operational frequency range for future EM nano transceivers. Because of the emerging novel materials like carbon nanotube and graphene, Graphene is one atom thick layer of carbon in a honeycomb crystal lattice, which has unique physical, electrical, and optical properties. Graphene has many special properties. It is very strong, thin, light, and highly bendable material. Okay? And I believe that is an ingredient in the vaccines, graphene oxide. So nanoparticles and that are just dandy. Allopathic versus homeopathic. Okay? I haven't seen a doctor in probably over 20 years. Have been doing the holistic thing myself, meal and tea. I do it all. And at 43, I'm feeling really good that way. Again, everybody's different. And this was an interesting one, studying homeopathy and stuff. I've heard of geoengineering by our government. Just look up and you will see chemtrails being sprayed throughout the skies by unmanned drones. I suppose the use of synthetic man-made aerosols has many purposes. Control of the weather, nanoparticle surveillance, spreading bioweapons, blocking sunlight, etc. Drones and exercises are very frightening terms when used by the military-industrial complex through Department of Defense. Funding. The M2SR virus vaccine, which focuses on the M2 protein, granted Professor Kowalka a $14.4 billion State Department contract through University of Wisconsin. Biotech labs at University of Wisconsin are clear evidence that our money is truly being spent on nefarious purposes rather than our very own health and healing. The sneaky thing the American Medical Association did when it was founded in 1847 was to prohibit a license to any homeopathic physician, still in effect to this day. Thus, doctors became more educated on synthetic drugs rather than natural remedies. In 1910, the investigation on the quality of medical education in all 161 medical schools that existed was conducted by Abraham Flexner in the Flexner Report, very famous report. As a result, credibility and funding for nearly all schools using non-drug-based medicine was removed. As this book-length landmark report was sponsored through the Carnegie Foundation, the Flexner Report completely changed the framework of medicine. This coup against natural medicine formed the necessity for the accreditation of hospitals. Flexner, hired and paid for by Rockefeller and Carnegie, the American Medical Association, was not even a doctor. He was simply on the staff of the Carnegie Foundation for the advancement of teaching. Through the removal of teaching natural medicine and remedies, and the advancement of technological medicine, people could no longer afford such extravagant equipment and procedures. Insurance would thus become a necessary social program. With the American League of Municipalities and the American Association of State Government being under the oversight and guidance of the Rockefeller Foundation, the legislature became a tool to draft new measures in order to develop hospitals and doctors. Doctors and hospitals were only licensed by the legislature, which proves the fact that only the Rockefeller Foundation could approve a medical license. Doctors are employees of the government, and actually the AMA has brought charges against doctors curing people. Big Pharma has shown its face. CD, March 10th. I was writing firsthand right during the pandemic, and doing all the research right along with what we were going through. Is there any public servant out there that will follow the majority's will for truth and peace and seek to unravel this bioweapon disaster? Any engineered bioweapon propelled is an act of war. What the Pentagon is now doing is exactly what it did in the past, meaning that its bioweapons program was never terminated. The U.S. Army performed 27 field tests with such biological stimulants involving the public domain from 1949 to 1968, when President Nixon officially announced the end of the program. Not good. Most Americans do not know Richard Nixon signed an order to ban these weapons, and that these weapons programs were then immediately classified to NATO by the director of the CIA, Richard Helms. NATO's the bad guy. Canada, and then to Isfahan, Iran, then off to Uganda, Tanzania, Holland, Germany, Luxembourg, and Belgium. The NATO and DoD presence is everywhere. Those are all biolabs. And unfortunately, that presence spreads bioweapons throughout the earth. Is there any solution for a government that forces a manipulative narrative upon the populace in order to fuel a synthetic pharmaceutical monopoly? We have not been living naturally free. We have become top secret experiments.
It's not us. Sorry about that. Please ignore.
Maybe it's Robert Kennedy Jr. Yeah, bioweapons. It's coming out slowly. And why can't we be the leading cutting edge of prosecuting what we've been through rather than covering it up, sweeping it under the carpet? The cover page? Oh, the cover page isn't on this one. Plandemic. There's a name that will pop up a little bit, Peter Thiel, who funded Facebook, PayPal. He's connected to Elon Musk. He's a technocrat. He has a founders fund that is like sponsoring many things for technology. I'm just going to touch on him a little bit here. It is clear, however, that the Department of Defense contracts with Palantir and their company, Tiberius, are quite nefarious in these COVID-19 times. Palantir, an analytics company co-founded by Peter Thiel, a German, is supporting the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in building a tool to track the spread of the coronavirus. The tool, which is reportedly called HHS Protect Now, is already up and running as of April 10th, and it helps officials compile reports on the coronavirus spread through the U.S. by collecting data from state and local governments, healthcare institutions, and colleges. It is unclear what exactly this data is, where it comes from, or how it's being used. It's also unclear if Palantir is the sole technology provider of the tool or if other partners are involved. So I remember growing up and our medical history being private and everything, and this whole rollout is just providing no privacy. And again, we don't know the full purpose of all of these things. The medical surveillance and everything. We're going to keep you healthy and everything, but 24-hour surveillance, I don't think that's. Antivenom. One doctor I researched argued, and this is a good lead up to HIV, that snake venom, or a derivative of it, is actually being used and put in medicines. It has the same crippling effects. Toxic-like peptides in plasma, urine, and fecal samples from COVID-19 patients, along with COVID spike protein, is most identical to Chinese crepe and king cobra venom. Dr. Bing Liu was making significant findings and was planning on publishing his research on COVID-19 genetic sequences of spike proteins. Dr. Liu, 37, was to become an unfortunate soul involved in a murder-suicide before anything was disclosed, sadly. Should I just pick it up and leave it off?
Apologies, no, I just...
You guys can hear me, whatever. The show will always go on.
But doesn't stop.
Gilead, who produces remdesivir, instructs to prepare the off-white yellowish powder in the same manner as the preparation of off-white yellowish antivenom. Consequently, remdesivir and king cobra venom also have the same identical effect on the human body. Remdesivir simply is lyophilized, freeze-dried peptide proteins of king cobra venom, according to Dr. Artis. The synthesized snake venom ultimately has the ability to isolate and damage targeted organs. I did some research on this. This is kind of an out there idea, but it does make a little sense to me. And they were prescribing remdesivir at first during the COVID outbreak, and there was an article from Arizona that was published that was saying that, yes, it was the remdesivir that was killing the patients, not actual COVID-19. And that is going to lead into HIV/SIDA. One of my theories, you will see, is kind of the same thing as COVID is HIV, maybe a medical fraud. Is the science behind HIV a fraud? Are those experts that claim that HIV virus caused serious injury completely wrong? How could this be? Well, the US government is responsible for the most manipulated, deadly scientific fraud in world history. A couple now. Arrogance, ignorance, corruption, and deception have never been questioned, and those expert doctors, the pharmaceutical industry, and health agencies will never be held accountable or responsible. A positive diagnosis by an inaccurate HIV test leads to treatment with AZT, a drug too toxic to treat cancer. Ironically, it is actually the AZT itself that causes acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Sounds just like something we just went through. And guess who's in the mix? Fauci AIDS magic. You guys are winners. I can't help but be quite speculative when I look back on the early 90s. I was born in 82, so I was a young guy. On the early 1990s era of SportsCenter and AIDS. It seems as if the two grew parallel in popularity. Why is that? I'll never forget November 7th, 1991, when NBA legend Magic Johnson colliding in every instant. Okay? And I just want to finish with this one. Thus, connecting it all with vaccines and everything. Thus, Anthony Fauci, the businessman, pushed to get the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986 passed that removed liability away from pharmaceutical companies who had been sued for the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccine injuries. Under the NCVIA, the Vaccine Injury Act was created to provide a federal no-fault system for compensated vaccine-related injuries or deaths by establishing a claim procedure involving the U.S. Court of Federal Claims and Special Masters. Fauci also pushed the AZT treatment for profit on people with the AIDS virus. The AIDS treatment used to prevent mother-to-child spread during birth or after a needle stick injury kills healthy cells and doesn't cure AIDS. All right, there's a lot in here. This one, I just wanted to touch on Ned Lamont real quick. Of course, Peter Thiel, Ned Lamont, same paragraph. Okay, working out of school, having these feelings, doing the research, knowing truly what's going on, and having our governor mandating you to take a test to be allowed to go to work and everything, and then finding out his wife's company is manufacturing the COVID test and making incredible amounts of money, and then when everyone found out they moved to Tennessee, didn't rub me the right way. It made me realize Ned Lamont's very deep. And I have another quick read, I didn't include it, on his grandfather, grandfather, Thomas Lamont, who was the head of J.P. Morgan. He knew the Morgans and took over. They are the high money players. And these high money players thought this scam, this COVID scam, was gonna work out. And they were manufacturing tests. How did they know how to manufacture tests? And so I won't read through it, but that's that. But I will touch on the Palantir. I think it's important, yeah. But look up Anne Lamont, Semaphore, all that good stuff if you want. But going more so to the biodigital convergence, Connecticut corruption, that's why everything's so expensive. Palantir's Tiberius race in the public health panopticon. This is an article by Phil Stone, someone else. Palantir Technologies, the company founded by Alex Karp, Peter Thiel, and a handful of their associates, has courted controversy for its supporting role in the U.S. military occupation of Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as its participation in the detention of illegal immigrants through their contracts with the Department of Homeland Security and in predictive policing law enforcement programs that disproportionately affect minority neighbors. Okay, this is what's going on right now. Okay, the illegal immigrants sweeping through, this is what's going on right now. That's AI is, they know everything. They know where everybody is. And they used it in warfare. They used it in Afghanistan. Equally controversial, but perhaps lesser known, is Palantir's long-standing and enduring ties to the CIA and the intelligence community at large, which was intimately involved in the development of Palantir's products that now run on the databases of governments and corporations around the world. The same national security state that Palantir has long aided in oppressing countries abroad and minorities domestically is now running Operation Warp Speed. While Palantir's selection to manage the allocation of the vaccine to priority groups may just seem like the national security state wanting to award the contract to a familiar and trusted company, the allocation strategy's heavy focus on vaccinating minorities first, with questionable justification for doing so, suggests something else may have been behind Palantir's selection to play a prominent role in Warp Speed. Strange stuff. Strange stuff. Psycho. So this title was amusing to me because to me everything's a psyop. So this is Psy Kill-Off. Psycho Kill-Off. That's what they're doing to us with the eugenics program, Bill Gates and all the guys. And I just want to read a quick article from 1909. Okay, the Pueblo Sun, Volume 5, number 133, February 2nd, 1909. A cancer was practically unknown until cowpox vaccination began to be introduced. Cancer, I believe, is a disease of cell life, a disturbance of its equilibrium, manifesting by the rapid growth of cells and the consequent building up of a tumor. I have had to do with at least 200 cases of cancer, and here declare that I never saw a case of cancer in an unvaccinated person. The way vaccination causes cancer is like this. It takes 21 years to make a man and but 4 to make a cow. The former being of slow cell growth and the latter rapid. To put the rapid growing cells or protoplasm of a diseased animal in a condition of virulent infections activity into the slow growing cells of man is to disturb the equilibrium of cell life and create that disparity, disarrangement, and disorganization, which, when the season for cancer comes late in life, results in cancer, if not tuberculosis earlier. That was long ago. Yeah, and I learned a lot about cowpox. Again, that's all in there. Cutter incident, vaccine, injuries. Okay, Hydra. This was an interesting one because Hydra is in the mRNA vaccine and is an unstoppable, impossible to kill self-replicating Hydra organism being injected into every human that chooses a certain vaccine. Yes, the ancient multi-headed serpent, Hydra, described in ancient Greek mythology, is in the mRNA shop. So I try to connect them. Here I wanted to cover. Yeah, we'll move to food now. Moving way too far. GMO, August 14th, 2021. Again, I won't get into how close to food production I am, but it's right in my front yard, from industrial, spray everything, to organic. I see it all. I've seen it all. Been around it for a long time. Pretty disturbing, especially America. Why would Russia ban Monsanto's GMO corn? Following the groundbreaking French study that graphically linked the lifetime consumption of Monsanto's GMO corn in rats to massive tumors and direct organ failure, a main consumer rights organization in Russia facilitated the suspension for any import of or use of Monsanto's GMO corn within the nation's borders. And corn, sweet corn, just about all corn is GMO. And a lot of corn is Roundup ready. The seed is formed that you can spray Roundup around the seed. The plant won't die, but everything else growing around the corn will die. And I think a lot of us have heard of the effects of Roundup. And again, America, I don't understand why we allow all this stuff in our food system. It's very frightening. And Mobay. This is very important right here, the opening of Mobay. And Mobay is Monsanto and Bayer. They combined, okay? They're the big chemical corporations, pharmaceutical. The corporate preparations for World War II started as early as 1925 when Bayer, BASF, Bush, and other German multinationals formed a cartel called IG Farben Industry. Okay, IG Farben, that is so important because that later comes Monsanto, Bayer. That's what warfare is. Warfare is these big industrial chemical manufacturers. That's what it is. It's these. They have unlimited power and they create all these things and they unleash it on us in so many different forms. And I mean, it's undeniable to me that we are going through chemical warfare at the time, and it's all from the conglomerate of these chemical companies. Geez, 100 years ago. Yeah, and we can go into that. The same names, Bayer, Rockefeller, and global trade, food. They want to control it all. Oh yeah, and this is so important because the Department of Ag, shame on them. They're playing with all these chemicals, pumping all these animals with all these experiments and stuff. In 1954, the United States Department of Agriculture took over management of an island off the coast of New York and Connecticut, located in Long Island Sound. Plum Island, some of us have heard of that, right? It's like the Creature Island, formerly Fort Terry, was formed by Nazi bioweapons expert Erich Traub, a founding father of American biological warfare who specialized in domestic animals and foot and mouth disease. Operation Paperclip, some of you are familiar with, allowed for the employment of Nazi war criminals within America. Consequently, the island was a biosafety level 3 to 4 laboratory, highest potential harm for humans, but simply put, it was a secret germ laboratory. USDA main purpose was creating secret germ laboratories, not creating helping us create an amazing ecosystem to create organic food. Not their concern at all. Why is USDA in charge of controlling biological agents?
This is not our fault, I apologize. And they call in the museum.
It's USDA.
Oh?
Okay.
And the museum workers are not here.
Remain responsitioning of the new biosafety level 4 lab in Kansas. So they're just growing.
Yes,
This is just growing.
they are
This is just
open.
growing.
Currently, we're having a talk here where you can come in and visit the library and visit the talk, okay?
All right. And another
Would you can come and drop it off?
title. Another title I had fun with. Pharma, but you get the 8 plus for the blue ribbon at the farm. So that's how I entertain myself. My mind really
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you come.
Okay, so here we go again. According to the McCullough Foundation, our new study presents strong evidence that the current HPAI, H5N1, bird flu, clade 2, 3, 4, 4B outbreak is a result of laboratory leaks from the USDA Southeast Poultry Research Laboratory in Athens, Georgia, and the Erasmus, who's connected to COVID-19. I read about that. Erasmus Medical Center in Rotterdam, Netherlands. Genetic evidence and historical context suggest that laboratory activities, including serial passage and gain of function research, could have contributed to the emergence of H5NY clade 2344B. Moratorium on gain of function research, including serial passage of H5N1, is indicated to prevent a man-made influenza pandemic affecting animals and humans. So, good old bird flu leaked from a USDA lab. IOB, Internet of Bodies. Okay, our body is now connected to the internet. If you can track your heart rate, if you can do all your biometrics, you're connected to the web. Our physical body, be it an electromagnetic system based on suction, gravitational pull, nerve currents, or the manipulation of gases, had originally formed in space, in the womb. That incredible system of creation now is completely being monitored by biometric analysis. Is empty space really empty? What synthetic materials are making air jump or air die within the atmosphere? How do biometrics work? According to Wikipedia, biometrics is used to identify individuals and groups that are under surveillance. So we're under surveillance 24/7. But again, the positive spin on it, rather than view the doom and gloom of the control of globalism, let's rejoice in the amazing benefits of the Internet of Things. We have such great intelligences available to all through a couple of touches of a finger, or even requesting information through voice command. We must unite and share all of our archaic and modern hypotheses. And I would not be able to compile this stuff without this magic computer. Yes, pros, cons, good, bad, duality. Duality doesn't exist. Things are just the way they are. And I think knowledge is power. Knowing truly what's going on is our greatest ally. Chemtrails, January 10th, 2024. Typical me. I got all my stuff. I've been researching chemtrails since 2004. And this quick read has very little to do. It has a little to do with chemtrails, but what I discovered is the scientific publishing is an industry like no other, with profit margins to rival Google, and it was created by one of Britain's most notorious tycoons, Robert Maxwell. Do we know who Robert Maxwell is? Do you know Jeffrey Epstein? Do you know Ghislaine Maxwell? That's her dad. That's why this whole Epstein thing is much bigger than its intelligence. It's not just the horrible trafficking of humans. That's a small part of it. This is the intelligence. Okay, this is controlling the information. If you're publishing climate change and this needs to be done, we need to block the sun because Earth's going to crumble, that's why things are allowed to happen. And again, a guy, he might have, I don't know if he was knighted or not, very circumstantial death off a boat, but he was a top player in the royal monarchy, Mossad, he was part of Israel intelligence as well. So he was high up there, and he was creating all of the material to make us believe chemtrails were necessary. So again, there's so many patents out there, method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and or magnetosphere, all available. It's all happening now. Robert Maxwell is a prime example of how to succeed in the system. Just by researching his connections, you will find most of our biggest environmental, health, and social problems today. Yep, surrounding that guy. Slaughterbots, February 5th, 2024. Again, nanoparticles. What are they doing? And I just want to go down to tier 3 here. Okay, again, wireless body area network has been developed as a new technology. WBN is a 3-tier architecture body network. In tier 3 of WBN, the terminal data center is mainly composed of remote servers providing various applications. Its function is to collate and analyze the received data to provide a dynamic response, especially when the sensor node collects abnormal data. It will carry out emergency transmission and alarm, which can speed up the emergency processing and rescue. WBAN takes the human body as the application carrier, turns it into a part of the communication network, truly realizes the ubiquitous network and omnipresent service, and plays an important role. So we're just part of the network. And again, going back to the Corona satellite system, U.S. Army awarded L3 Harris and Raytheon applied signal technology phase 2 contracts to develop sensors in support of a next generation airborne intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance program known as HADES. High accuracy detection exploration system. Brainwaves. Yeah, I don't think there was really much I wanted to cover in here. There's just a lot. This is all articles, previous articles, really uncovering a lot of stuff. It's pretty long. This one, I want to get to Man vs. Nature, 802.156. Okay, there we go. Effect of coronavirus worldwide through misusing of wireless sensor networks. March 2021, American Journal of Bioinformatics Research. Corona is a non-communicable sensor disease spreading worldwide through misusing of processed radio frequency, radio waves. So far higher authors of health services are facing the undesirable escalating causes of coronavirus towards human beings as a very specific, very scientific puzzle, comprehensive issue. The study aims to evaluate the maltreating of wireless sensor networks that affect individuals within the body boundary area. Wireless sensor data were collected from individuals' profile, diagnosis, and sensor node records at laboratory experiments. The study shows the effect of processed sensor nodes among individuals' body organs to compare with existing environments. The study illustrates all individuals suffer from sensor disease due to reflecting of wavered sensors at open eye sites with high-speed electromagnetic radio tracking systems. HADES. And again, this is the main point I'm trying to say here. Well, it has become obvious to the populace that World War III's battleground is on the digital radio frequency plane. Non-lethal forces are now being combated upon the global population by the Global Military Alliance headquartered at the United Nations, Geneva, the capital of peace. The UN, in unison with the College of Corporations through the Bank for International Settlements, lead the few in control to prosperity. There is no longer any spiritual prototype or philosophy to relate to for the simple contemporary human being. The machine has completely taken over. That's how I got to start. Here, and again, to be connected to the Internet of Nano Things, our body area network at the physical layer under 6G, it starts with the International Telecommunications Union and what is flying invisibly through our airwaves. And Man vs. Nature, the title of this, 802.15.6, that's our human network code. Okay, that's on the internet, that's what we're identified as. War upon America by America, May 3rd, 2024. This is a picture taken from the front of my house in Bethlehem. And I just edited a little bit. This This is Bethlehem, Connecticut. This is probably Morse, actually, because I live right over the library. That's what we're looking at there. Okay, this just touches on Bilderberg. One of my hypotheses is to get to where we are now, we have to see the planning for the control of the world through the Bilderberg Conference and the group of Europeans and Americans, and it has grown. But that we can talk about at another talk. That's a whole big thing. But this is what I wanted to cover is future strategic issues, future warfare, circa 2025. Another NASA, all that stuff makes it clear what the true purpose the American government has upon the entire world. Nice. I'm my own editor as well. But I did fix that on the way there. The bots, boards, and humans welcome you to 2025 AD. This presentation based on futures work with U.S. Air Force, Army after next, DARPA, CIA, all of these are on board with this NASA program. Need to plan differently. World is in the throes of triple exponential technological revolutions. This is how they're viewing it. Changes occurring at scales of months instead of decades. Zero order, potential effects upon defense, offense equipment. Humans have taken over vastly shortened evolution. This is their mind, how they think of the planet, global warming, all this stuff. All their concerns, bio-nano, hunter-gatherer, agriculture, industrial. And it's this is all taken from the NASA document. If you look it up, it'll be all presented nicely. This is just me sourcing it out. Yeah. And just this, again, some sensor swarms, smart dust. Okay, that's what we're getting sprayed on. And they can create nano swarms of things. It's all here. Some explosive smart dust opportunities, optimal positioning of explosive dust air explosives, formation of explosive lenses, infiltration of deeply buried other such targets, micro dust weaponry, a mechanical analog to biomicron size mechanized dust which distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs. Dust mechanically pours into lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. A wholly new class of weaponry which is legal. Unbelievable. America. Okay, and how are we going to fix it? Well, you know, my grandpa, who raised me, my dad died at 41 of alcoholism, really difficult childhood, but he was a World War II vet, and his brother died in war with him. And he raised me, and I heard all the stories, and I think a lot of my ideology comes from how things turned out for him, and his reflection of it, and he wasn't favorable to war at all. And neither am I. But we do have a military in place, and we do have policies written to deter from nefarious acts upon the population. So I created this, 11.3, and you'll see where I get the title from. Yes, I think the heavenly powers, this is the last quick read, by the way, too, so I hope I haven't bored you too much. Yes, I thank the heavenly powers for our forefathers who had the prophecy and foresight to acknowledgement that all men have a point of corruption and that a consistency of decency and respect must be understood and followed in order for a city on the hill to exist. Rules equal for every man and woman has taken some time to develop. Have we evolved into the words Martin Luther King Jr. dreamed of? In 2021, the word that comes to mind for civilization is devolution. Thus, we have reached a time where all liberal, careless principles have made us all debt slaves, even if there are substantial bank savings. This reckless abandonment of conservation and natural living has created a system that makes being unemployed much more profitable than working a labor-intense job. Youth, with no concern for a contribution into our nation's development, parallel with the government viewed as a means for free occupation, has created
two worlds in America. Two worlds trying to fit into one will create great conflict. I cannot say there is war between Democrat and Republican because they are both oh so corrupt and approach governing through the lens of global initiatives and medical experiments, both great hindrances to the development of a free society. Yes, we the people versus United States government is a war currently happening. The government is growing and growing and growing, paid for by those that have become debt slaves for those that enjoy free occupation. Is there any solution to this? Department of Defense Law of War Manual, June 2015. Just a couple portions. And I list just toxic weapons, biological weapons. We have all the procedure down, how to handle it. But we're not doing anything about it. So I guess, yeah, that was it. Yeah, and you can look at environmental modification techniques. That's not cool, that's what we're doing. And that's all I got. Yeah, not bad, an hour. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't read all of them. I don't know, I don't think we can ask questions in here. Is that against the law?
No, we're good.
Yeah. You got